All right, let's get straight to Anfield, shall we? Final minute of the game. This is Jeremy Doku on Alexis Mac Allister. Penalty or not penalty, Dermot?
I think, actually, from my point of view, it's easy to give it. I think if you give it, there'll be some argument, but we'd think we'd be talking about as much. I think Doku gets the ball, there's no doubt about that. He then gets Mac Allister. The argument is, does getting the ball negate a penalty? Well, we saw at Bournemouth, no. Michael Oliver fed back to the VAR. He's convinced that Doku gets the ball. He's right. The VAR's a look. He does get the ball, so he decides to go with the referee on field.
But can he clearly see it? Is Mac Allister's body between the referee and Doku? So is that not a case then for VAR to say, look, we reckon we've got an angle here because you couldn't see it because of your positioning. He's actually in the perfect position as a referee should be, and so it's not a fault of his. It's just the way the play carried on. So surely that was the perfect opportunity for VAR to go, just have a quick look, Michael, at this position here. And if you're still convinced, fine. But that didn't happen.
No, because they discuss, don't they? That's the thing. And I think it raises lots of dilemmas. As I say, I think there'd be less argument if a penalty. What I will say is, I'm surprised this morning listening to people, there's a pretty wide split. There's a lot of people say penalties, a lot of people say no penalty. Referee made the decision on field. He said what he saw. The VAR looks at the pictures, and the pictures do back up what he sees. As I say, the dilemma is, if you get the ball, does that negate a foul? Well, it didn't at Bournemouth. You know, so I'm trying to be fair. I'm not trying to take sides. I'm trying to be fair. What I will say is the referee, it's a big, big call. Whichever way he jumps, you'll be showing up this morning and you'll still be arguing the other way. And I think that's what kind of call it was.
You've finally worked out the rules, haven't you?
I knew I'd get there one day.
Yeah. Whatever you say, we're going to argue in the opposite. Jay, penalty or not penalty?
I definitely think it's a penalty, but Sue brought up an interesting point, is that if you watch it really, really slowly, it looks like Mac Allister's actually touched the ball onto his foot, if you really slow it down. But I do think it's a penalty. I mean, it was silly from Doku anyway. He had about 3 opportunities to head the ball away, clear the ball away. In my mind, I'm probably thinking the only reason why he didn't is because he wants to control it and turn and run with it. But for me, it's a definite penalty. One question for you though, Dermot. Do you think because of how big the game is, how it's been built up, do you think that the referees discussed it and was like, we can't give it because we don't want the game to end on a controversial decision like that?
Well, he can only discuss it with himself, can't he, in his own mind. But in fairness to him, he made his decision very, very quickly. He said to the VAR straight away, he's played the ball. So he didn't have time to think about what time of game it was, who the games were being played between. He made his decision based on what he saw. I like what you said about Doku, because sometimes I say better to be a lucky ref, and he was really unlucky, wasn't he? Because if Doku had cleared the ball like you anticipate, it goes away.
It goes away.
Yeah.
And
we suddenly have, as I talk all the time, a consequence of something that happened. If he'd have cleared that ball, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Sue, penalty?
Yeah, it's a penalty. I think anywhere else on the pitch, that's going to be a free kick. I think when you raise your foot that high and you connect with someone in the chest, I seen it straight away. I thought that's going to be a penalty. Then I thought the VAR check would certainly send him over to the screen just to have another look at it, because of the position that he was in. Like you said, it's quite difficult to see from the angles that we saw. But as soon as he touched him, and I think, like what Jay said, Mac Allister actually touches the ball first, then Doku touches the ball. So yeah, I was really surprised that wasn't given as a penalty.
What about that argument? Anywhere else on the pitch, that would have been a free kick. Does that hold water?
Well, it wasn't anywhere else on the pitch.
Yeah, but Dermot.
What I said, Rob, I was as fair could be. I said, told you what the referee saw, what he felt. I told him my opinion. I think if a player goes that high with his boot and he lands on his chest, for me, it's easy to give a penalty. So I can't be any fairer than that, Rob. I will answer what happened, not what you're going to make happen.
What's about to come out of your mouth is, and if you do that again, it's a yellow card. That's what you're going to say, isn't it? Yeah, you're giving me a talking to, Sue.
Dermot, is it one of those that if it was given, it wouldn't have been overturned? Is it one of those?
I think Sue, that's always going to be the referee's call, isn't it? Whatever he gives there, you'll back him, because if he doesn't give the penalty, his argument is he played the ball first, and then he's caught him as a consequence. If he gives the penalty, he will say, well, his boot was high, he's caught him in the chest,
Right.
he's got stud marks on his chest. So the pictures will support whichever way he goes, and that's the vagary of A, refereeing, and B, the VAR.
Why didn't he want to be 100% sure then and check it? That's
Yeah,
what-
but how
that's
can
what
he
I
be
think.
100% sure? Because
if he goes to
McAllister's in the way and the
Yeah, but if he
VAR
goes to
can
V-
see that.
Yeah, but if he goes to VAR, he could check it, right?
Yeah, but VAR's not there as a parachute, is it? It's not there to re-referee a football match. VAR's there for the guy to say, I think you've made a clear and obvious error.
But he has, because the body's in the way.
Hang on.
I'm going to get a yellow, aren't I?
I know for a
Dermot,
fact.
calm down.
The referee said to the VAR, I'm convinced he's played the ball. Now you look at that, he does. So the VAR can't argue with the referee.
Yeah, but his foot's high. Like
It
I mean,
is, but don't forget, everything is dependent. We see games all the time,
I see games all the time, and when his foot's that high, it's a foul.
and that's why I said right from the start, Jay.
Anywhere else on the pitch?
So anywhere else in the pitch is a foul.
I said I think it's easier to give a penalty.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
But it's not a foul on the halfway line.
Joe, you're going to get sent off as well. It'd just be Sue left here with Dermot.